And we're back with another episode of NBA Observations, a special NBA Observations. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Truly appreciate you doing so. So make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. And of course, if you subscribe, you get the latest notifications. Hit that notification bell. I've already heard people multiple times this week tell me they didn't get the show or notification that we were live. And you know what? That's on you, because YouTube has set it up, because it's right there, right below that little bell indeed. All right, this is a special NBA Observations. I am so blessed. I'm going to have some great panelists running their teams. So what if we ran the teams in the off season? Now, mind you, we can't go crazy like Laker Tom has done in the past and do anything and everything that we want. That would be awesome, but we're going to do as much as we can, as close to the confines of what the NBA season or NBA offseason would allow. And we're going to go ahead and start through the NBA draft and through NBA free agency. And here today to go ahead. No, Jay, I'm AI, and this is pre-recorded. So with that said, I wanted to go ahead and make sure I introduce my guests as far as our fellow panelists and owners and general managers of their respective teams. First off, of course, first man here, first man up. It is, of course, Matt John from the J Notes, covering the Jazz and the Celtics. Matt, great to have you here, my friend.
It's good to be here. I'm wearing my Michael Jordan Wizards jersey to kind of set the tone for no matter how bad my ideas are, like he sets the bar for how low they can go.
There you go. Absolutely. But better make sure you buy that Trae Young Wizards jersey, because it might be a collector's item. So there you go. Indeed. So also here today, a good man indeed. You see him here also every week on NBA Observations. If you're checking out, these guys provide continually great observations on the league, and it is a can't miss show every time out. It is, of course, the guy that does a lot of great work with the Suave Report and the New Century Press, covers the Oklahoma City Thunder. It is Caleb Ponce. Caleb, I know you said that you may not be the most active individual on this show in regards to a team you're running, but again, you are getting a little bit more expensive with your salary cap going forward.
Yeah, we'll have some trades here, and we'll definitely make some moves in the draft for certain. I think that's where you could see OKC definitely be active next week. So I'm going to try and do kind of what I think will happen, mixed with maybe more realistic, because I was pretty incensed after that Spurs series and thought about some Giannis trades, and now I've calmed down on that one. And I also don't think there's any chance in this universe that ends up happening. Yeah, but no, I'm excited. The Thunder are an interesting offseason team, in my opinion. Of course, I'm a little biased, but I think most would think that, with that kind of the impasse they're at with their money, and excited to get started here for sure.
Absolutely, indeed. I do ask one thing, though, of you guys. If you guys can help keep track with me as far as your moves for your teams, as far as it's concerned, just if you have a place to write it down, or just message me on it, or whatnot, so I can just keep track of what you guys are doing. Plus also for the players, so that we don't trade. Hey, I want to trade for Anthony. Oh, did you just trade for Anthony Davis? So I just want to make sure that we keep track as well, because we cannot trade for the same player off the same team. If, and let's say, and let's use Anthony Davis as an example. If Matt, for his Boston Celtics, makes a trade for Anthony Davis, if I'm interested in Anthony Davis, I have to offer him something now from Boston. I can no longer make a trade with the Washington Wizards for Anthony Davis, because he's already been moved. Did that make sense, guys? So we're trying to keep everything straight. But we're going to lead into, as far as it's concerned, there you go. As far as, thank you, Caleb. First thing that we did is, for the upcoming draft for one of our team, we've got Caleb Ponce already has made a deal. So OKC has already moved up in the draft. They've got number 17 number 37, the 2027 Philadelphia first, and the 27 San Antonio Spurs first. That gets moved to Dallas, I believe. Was that correct? Or was it? Yeah, Dallas for the number 9 spot. So OKC is moving up in the trade. Matt, for either of your teams, before we get into it, is there any trades that you are thinking of in regards to the moving up in the draft or down the draft or what have you before I continue?
No.
Okay. Okay. With that, and let's
I was just gonna say it's funny being with the Thunder guy because the Jazz kind of ruined their plans.
Hey, year after year, man. This the Derek Favors trade that never stops. It's finally over, I think. It's a sad tradition that I'm not going to be able to live out anymore year after year, hoping that the Jazz tank just poorly enough that maybe it falls to us. Never had to worry.
Fair
about
enough,
it.
indeed. And I'm until Legend gets here, because Legend said he's going to join us as well. I have to go ahead and choose for his teams, Atlanta and Golden State. For me, as far as for the Lakers are concerned, I would love to see how this draft goes, but if there is a possibility, I might trade down, but that won't come up until a little bit later in the draft, indeed. So is there any type of trades or any type of moves that you would like to make before, not concerning the draft per se, but are there any type of acquisitions, signings, things of that nature, extensions that you guys need to make before we go ahead and into this as far as the draft is concerned?
For OKC, I don't know exactly what the sequence on this would be, but I do think what's going to end up happening is they will decline Isaiah Hartenstein's team option and extend him off of it. I imagine somewhere around $25 million a year. So I guess we can just do that now that OKC declines Isaiah Hartenstein's team option and extends him on like a 3-year, $77 million contract, because that's about what I think it'll be probably.
Fair enough. Okay. And Matt, do you have anything for Boston or Utah as far as the teams you're running here today before the draft?
Before the draft?
Yeah, before the draft. Is there any like extensions that anything that you're ready to go ahead and get the tidy work already done as far as before the draft begins, like Walker Kessler, for instance, or do you think that will be work itself out? How, or anything with Boston on extensions or anything of that nature that you can do right now as a GM?
I mean, funny enough, I do think the Walker Kessler situation will be handled in due time, but I do think because of the Jazz's cap space, they're probably not going to do it until the end. It wouldn't shock me if the deal gets announced, but I don't think he'll sign on the dotted line until Utah knows what they're going to do with their available cap space this summer. So, I mean, before the draft, I don't think that's going to happen.
Fair enough. Fair enough indeed. So, and again, Legend is not here. So what's going on, Craig, Joe, and JSJ, everybody here? Truly appreciate you joining us. What if we were running our teams is the theme today for this live NBA observations. We're going to go ahead into it. And so with that said, this is an exercise. Hopefully that we'll be able to go ahead and maybe give an example to our teams on what they should do. So with that said, let's get into the draft itself. And the first pick has been made already by the Washington Wizards. Sans Trae Young, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. AJ DeBansa is the first pick out of BYU, which leaves, of course, the next pick to you, Matt, with Utah. Who are you thinking of at number 2?
I think history repeats itself with the Jazz. I think despite all the drama, they're going to take Darren Peterson with the number 2 pick.
So Darren Peterson is the number 2 pick right there out of Kansas. So I'm going to simulate to the next spot. I think it does that. Yes, it does that. So Cameron Boozer was next. Nate Ament going at number 4 ahead of Caleb Wilson. Yes. So the Clippers land Caleb Wilson.
All over the place here.
Yes. Yaxel Lendenberg. Okay. Again, this is some interesting stuff here going on. Yaxel Lendenberg, who looked like in recent days has been dropping down a little bit, moves up and then Keaton Wagler at number 6 as well. So with that said, Atlanta is up next, and I wish my good friend Legend was here to do it. So I'm going to have to pick for him. And with that said, they need guards, and they need big men. So should I reach? I think I will reach for Ademara to go ahead as a big man alongside. Where is it? Did I draft it? Oh, am I drafting? Hello. Come on. There we go. Got to take off the stupid ad first. So Ademara is next. And after that, it is to you, Caleb, as far as the next pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder, the pick that you traded up for.
Yeah, so Yaxel going 7 kind of throws a bit of a wrench here in exactly what the long-term plan was. But the guy I was going to pick at 9 either way was Braden Burries, the shooting guard from Arizona. There's a lot of rumblings that OKC is looking to trade up in this draft, and I think that there's people have been pointing to all sorts of different names. I feel like at this point, I have a pretty good feel for the type of guys and that the OKC looks for. I think a lot of people who follow this stuff closely do. And Burries really fits into that. He's a really connective player on offense. He's a really good shooter, which OKC needs more of. And as we'll get into later in this, I think that Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, and Aaron Wiggins are probably all out the door in OKC. So all of a sudden, that crazy guard depth that they've had is down to SGA, Jared McCain, AJ Mitchell, and Kaysen Wallace. And then after that, you're down to like Nikola Topic, who's dealing with another pretty significant injury now to his spine, which is always scary, but that he just can't catch a break. So really, they kind of need another guard at this point, despite it maybe not seeming like that on the surface. And you get up to this range, you get in here twice because you can kind of hit both. And I think someone with the shooting capabilities of Burries really would help them, specifically in a San Antonio matchup, especially with as smart as a player as he is. So should OKC move up, I would say Braden Burries is the name to keep an eye on if it's somewhere in that 7 to 9 range for sure.
Let me ask you this, Matt. JY in the chat has asked, why did Peterson only work out for one team, the Washington Wizards? Reminding you as your experience from us talking last year about one Ace Bailey.
From what I understand, like there have been some mixed reports, but from what Jazz reporters say, they say it's nothing against the Jazz. He actually has been in contact with them. It does sound like he is fairly confident that the Wizards are going to take him number 1. I don't think it is necessarily I take issue with the Jazz. I mean, last year with Bailey, I don't even think Bailey was saying, no, I don't want to play in Utah. He was just saying, I want to play in Washington. It doesn't even sound like Darren is saying, I want to play in Washington. He's saying, no, I think Washington is going to take me. So what's the point of working out for Utah if Washington's going to take me number 1? I do think that is kind of the he's doing this out of confidence that he's going to be a Wizard. And funny enough, like even before this happened, David Locke, who's part of the Locked On Jazz Network, he has said actually for a few weeks now he thinks Debonta is going to be their guy. But who knows?
Who knows, indeed. But I'm going to say right now, the kid has a lot of confidence in himself, but again, he's had a very sketchy college basketball season. A lot of questions still abound. In fact, he calls himself a loner. Doesn't really help his cause any as far as not a team leader. Just a lot of things heading around Darren Peterson heading into the draft. But I believe he has the highest ceiling of any of the top 4 players, is my personal opinion, but he also could have the lowest floor, if that makes sense as well. So we will see what happens. It could be a very easy, enjoyable career for Darren Peterson, and it could be also one filled with a lot of stuff, and we'll just leave it at that. But getting back to the draft, making sure I hit that stupid ad off. Golden State Warriors, legends. He is on his way. So I'm for him. I know that they want to lean more towards a big man issue. Darius Acuff still is there, and Kingston Flemings is still there. But if they are more in a win now mode, would you suggest a Morez Johnson Jr. for that spot, Caleb?
I would suggest Morez Johnson Jr. for the next spot. So this one,
Yes.
I think definitely, if the board falls in this crazy way where a guy, it's tough because if it's win now, yes, but I mean, you saw with the last time they had picks like this, like they were not adverse to taking swings with guys like Jonathan Kuminga, who maybe didn't exactly fit what they wanted to do in the moment, but he was a huge upside swing. So I think they'd think about it. But seeming with what they've seemed to want to do, getting Jimmy Butler, I think that Morez Johnson makes a ton of sense in this spot if this is how the board were to fall, which I do not think Nate Ament is going to go for. So I imagine things will look pretty different from this. I imagine Yaxel Lendeborg will be on the board here too. But for how we're doing this, I think Morez Johnson is probably the pick.
So Morez Johnson Jr. goes to Golden State. Mikael Brown Jr. went 10th to the Milwaukee Bucks. So that leaves you once again, Caleb, with the thought at number 12. Who are you taking next?
Yeah, I would go ahead and take Texas forward Dalen Swain here. If I was OKC, I think that he's a guy who's going to be in the mix for OKC at both of these spots. They need people on that wing more than they need. They have their lead ball handlers with SGA and J-Dub and even like AJ Mitchell. Obviously, they don't really need someone who's going to do a ton of work on ball. I think having off-ball guys like a Burries and like Swain, he has a lot of feel. He's not the best athlete, but he's athletic enough, and I think he really feels pretty thundery, and he's really that height that they don't have. I think he plays at about 6'8.5", 6'9" in shoes. So I think no matter how the board falls, that he could be a name that we see OKC take a little earlier than some are projecting. And with how this fell with both Morez Johnson and Lendeborg and Mara all going before 12, I think that he would make a lot of sense as the pick there, especially with them moving up to get Burries.
Matt, let me ask you this, because after Swain was picked up by Caleb, Christian Anderson to the Heat, Kingston Flemings to the Hornets, Darius Acuff in this mock draft going to 15th to Chicago Bulls. If the Chicago Bulls were to get Nate Ament and Darius Acuff, is that really a good draft?
It's not my favorite.
Yes.
I can't say that I am necessarily the biggest draft guy. It would surprise me if Acuff fell that far. That I don't see guys like that typically falling that far in the NBA draft. Yeah. It's not in the NFL draft that happens, but that's because there's a lot more players to choose from there than in the NBA draft. But I mean, like, I almost feel like in the Bulls case, like regardless, like the object goal here is just give your fans hope after all these years of being in no man's land. Like, if that's who you come away with, you may as well just say, well, if that was our haul, we're gonna go with the flow.
Okay, fair enough. So what comes next is for the Atlanta Hawks at 23. So I am going to go ahead for legend. Man, that's going to be an interesting call. I guess I'm going to go based off best talent available, and the highest rated player available is Kareem Lopez out of New Zealand. So Alan Graves went next, and it's going to my Lakers next. I am petrified of Jaden Quaince's knee and Jaden Quaince's free throw shooting. So I'm going to pass. I understand he's a man beast at 6'10", 250, 7'5" wingspan. I understand that if he's healthy, he could be a monster inside, especially giving you strength and physicality inside. But it's just a situation where I think you're getting a Mitchell Robinson where you're limited on how much and how effective you can play him. And you don't have a cat alongside him to supplement a lot of those minutes because the fact, again, he is very bad at the free throw line. So that concerns me greatly. So I am going to go ahead and pair up alongside with Luka Cameron Carr, who did well in pre-draft workouts as far as it's concerned, and really could be a two-way player with a good three-point stroke. So you know what? I did not expect Cameron Carr to fall this low. He actually was able to go ahead and perform very well in the draft combine. So I am choosing Cameron Carr as the best player available at that spot. If you were there, would you choose otherwise, Matt?
Uh, like I would say best player available type thing, and plus I think knowing what the Lakers have going for them, you and I talked about how Reeves is up for an extension, and it's not really that paying him a max is not really that easy of a decision. So if things go south, you could argue that this is kind of a failsafe for them.
And all my forwards that I was interested and big men I was interested in, Caleb, they're gone. So I really don't have much of a choice at that point in time. And Cameron Carr does look like something the Lakers need: athleticism and two-way capability, which is something that the Lakers don't really have a whole lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it were me, I just would have bit the bullet and taken Quaintance, but I do understand your hesitance there. He does have the really questionable injury stuff. I mean, there's rumors that he may fall as low as the second round today that have come out because of how concerning that knee stuff is. But I think if he's healthy, you're getting a lottery talent. And for the Lakers, like the word is today from David McMenamin, that Luka said, I want an A-list center to play with. And all due respect to even if they are able to get a guy like Walker Kessler, I don't think he necessarily falls into that A-list tier, in my opinion. And I think Quaintance, while it's unlikely, I think anyone you draft at this stage of the draft is probably statistically unlikely to be much of a contributor right away. And I think that Quaintance has long-term upside that nobody else in this range really offers through my view. So that's probably what I would have done. But Carr's a really good player. He had a weird transfer situation that kept him. Basically, he didn't play his freshman year, and then he ended up his freshman year was a sophomore year. And he's a really talented guy. He showcased a lot at Baylor, and he is also a pretty high upside guy at this stage of the draft. So I think that's a good pick. I just would have leaned Quaintance because the Lakers are so desperate for bigs. And like we've talked about, I'm more in the mindset that they're probably just going to end up keeping Austin Reeves. So
30% free throw shooter last season.
Not very good. Not very good. Not very good.
I think you could do better. Oh, both of you guys, I think you could do better if you closed your eyes and did a granny as far as from the free throw line than 30% and 47% in his first year. So yes. DBSH, what's going on, my friend? Yo, right here at the, of course, NBA Observations. Next on the list, I believe, because Jaden Quaintance went next with Denver, is you, Matt. So your choice, my friend, coming up for you. You have Koa Pete, Isaiah Evans, Jefferson. Let me go ahead and scroll down for you on that. So if you, as far as
appreciate
available, Pete, Isaiah Evans, Joshua Jefferson, Abuka Okore, Ryan Conwell, Alex Caravan, Braden Smith, Sergio De La Rea, Zubi Ejiofor, Richie Saunders, Jaden Bradley, Keyshawn Hall, among others.
Well, just looking at the top prospects, I'll just say this much. Among the things that the Celtics don't need is a wing. I actually think their wing rotation is pretty set where they are. You know, they got the Jays, they got Hauser, the Shireman, Gonzalez, Walsh. They are pretty set. Even Ron Harper Jr., they don't need another one. Like they're pretty much set there. In fact, I'm not sure if I've talked about it on here. I do think they will look into trading Hauser this offseason to give their younger wings more time. So I will go with Joshua Jefferson because I do think the Celtics also need help with their size. Granted, I think they're going to look at other avenues as well besides him. But I would say that, like, if that's the best big man that's available for them, I'd say that's who you take. I will say this much: like the hidden twist from this past season is that what that we didn't know is that Brad Stevens does have an eye for talent. Most of his picks have actually proven themselves to be pretty solid players. No stars yet, but at the same time, he's never gotten the chance to draft one. So I would trust that he will take the right player. I believe Fisher said the other day that they're planning to trade up. And so it wouldn't shock me if that's what they do. But I think Stevens, I think his drafting abilities simply just they're too good to be questioned.
So actually, it simulated through back to you in Boston again, Matt. And the picks that you have available at number 40 are Ryan Conwell out of Louisville, Alex Caravan out of Yukon, Malik Renault out of Miami, Isaiah Nelson out of South Florida, Ugonna Onyensu out of Virginia, Tyler Nickel out of Vanderbilt. So anything appealing there so far?
I'm sure they may go for size again. I'd say they probably go for Isaiah Nelson if they have the chance.
All right, Isaiah Nelson at number 40. So after that, coming up, where are we at? It's simulating now. Up to pick number. All right, there's Legend. Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. Great to have you here. Thanks for coming in. You're running Atlanta and Golden State. I've had to pick for you in your stead while you were flying in from wherever you were at whoever you were scouting. You got Matt John from the J Notes right above you, and also Caleb Ponce, who you know from the Swab Report. So I have picked for you to get you up to speed as we are at Golden State. Your pick at 54. I'll give you a second on that. So I have, just to catch you up, for Atlanta and for Golden State, I picked for you Ademara at number 8. It's simulated to 11, and I picked you Morez Johnson Jr. for Golden State, and Kareem Lopez for the Atlanta Hawks at number 23. So we're now to you, Legend, at number 54 right now for Golden State, and you have available on your right-hand side Tyler Nickel out of Vanderbilt, Tyler Bilodeau out of UCLA, Rafael Castro out of George Washington, Kylan Boswell out of Illinois, Jack Cahill out of Germany, Emmanuel Sharp out of Houston, Milos Uzan out of Houston, and Jacoby Gillespie, among others, out of Tennessee. Anybody appealing to you there at number 54?
For my 54 pick, let me go with Rafael Castro.
Okay, out of George Washington. Actually, that's a good pick, man. If he can translate some of those numbers to the next level, you might have yourself a pretty good big man out of 6'10", George Washington. So now it's going ahead and to you at 57 now, Legend, once again. Do you have Tyler Nickel, Tyler Bilodeau, Jack Cahill, Emmanuel Sharp, Milos Uzan, Jacoby Gillespie, among others?
I'll take Tyler Nickel.
All right. The highest rated player left on the board. And I think we are done. All right. So for Atlanta, we've got Ademara, Kareem Lopez, and Tyler Nickel. For Boston, for Matt, it is Joshua Jefferson and Isaiah Nelson. For Legend at Golden State, it's Morez Johnson Jr. and Rafael Castro. Darren Peterson for Utah, and for me, Cameron Carr. Because you guys, the simulator stole all my big guys. Thank you so much. So with that said, let's go ahead and get Matt back in there. So we're now heading into, after the draft, the dust is settled, and we're heading into free agency. There's still time to re-sign your own individuals. Legend, I want to get it back to you one more time. Okay, we're in that period where is there anybody that you are throwing out an extension to on either Golden State or Atlanta, or are there any moves not involving pending free agents that you want to go ahead and make right now?
For Atlanta, I would say draft-wise, I'll probably stick with what I got. I'm probably looking more towards that free agency and seeing what happened with Giannis. If Boston want to let Jaylen Brown come back home, see if they would want to make something happen with that. Let's get him back to Georgia.
And so let me go ahead and say this. Giannis Antetokounmpo is expected to go at any time, guys. Is there any team amongst your 5 and Lakers as well that actually have something that could be good enough to go ahead and get Giannis Antetokounmpo before we get started with the free agency period?
I mean, I'll just go out and say it. The two teams have been Miami and Boston, and it's funny because it sounds like Boston hasn't necessarily put Brown on the table, but I think the Bucks are saying we want Brown and we want more than that, and Boston's being like, no, it's just going to be Brown. I think Milwaukee's trying to leverage Miami to try to get more out of Boston besides Brown, but I believe wholeheartedly, unless I have no idea how the Heat top what the Celtics can offer, but I do think it'll be Brown for Giannis, and I do think it can be a 3-way deal that would send Brown home to Atlanta. Like it makes a lot of sense, especially with Milwaukee. All this intel saying they want another lottery pick. Atlanta makes so much sense. They can give that, and they can give their pick back for next year.
We got a lot to offer.
So you have the GM for Atlanta. Did you want to work out the particulars of that 3-way trade right now?
I'll be like, where do I sign it? That's all I have to say. Where do I sign? I'm ready. Pen is ready.
So what are the parameters of a deal a 3-way deal between Milwaukee, Boston, and Atlanta? And does Oklahoma City want to intervene as far as running? No.
We're
said you were tempted on Giannis before.
I think they good.
Okay. I'm just asking. Said you were tempted on Giannis before. Just saying. So
we're shutting out this.
Okay, fair enough. So what is the parameters of a 3-team deal with Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Boston? What would a framework look like on that, Matt and Legend? I'll let you guys take the lead from here.
Well, I think Milwaukee, another thing that they're looking into, I think, with the Giannis trade, pure speculation, is that they also want to get rid of some of their contracts. So something that Boston can do, like we'll get to the Hawks, but I do think that they would love to get someone like Miles Turner off their payroll. And the underrated asset that the Celtics have in this offseason is that they can sign and trade players. And even though it sounds like Vucevic, he's not coming back, but I think at this stage of his career, he probably will still want to get the money he wants. And I do think Boston can get it to him. And so that leads up to what I'm about to propose, where it would be Giannis comes to Boston, Jaylen Brown goes to Atlanta, along with the number 8 pick and the Bucks pick for next year, which I believe is unprotected, if I'm not mistaken. Like, gives the Bucks the chance to start over. I could see like Nikola Vucevic and Sam Hauser also being traded. Sam Hauser makes almost $11 million. You could do a sign and trade with Vucevic for around $15 million. That gets you Miles Turner, and you don't go over the tax. I've checked this on Fanspo. The Bucks, they get Vucevic, they get Hauser, they get Kuminga, they get Zachary Risachet. I do apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Okay, well let's put it in this way. So what does Milwaukee get? I'm gonna type this out. So Milwaukee gets Hauser, you said, correct?
Hauser, who I think they could find a suitor elsewhere, but I think they would get Hauser in this deal, but they could reroute him. Is it me or like?
No, I think we're all. Yeah, I think us three are good.
Yes.
So what are it's
Matt?
I was cooking up my own trades here. I'm getting ready for the Thunder part of it. Where are we at with getting Giannis to Boston here?
So Matt, are you with me, guys? Are you with me? Okay, gosh darn it.
Does my deal sound a little convoluted so far? Like,
yes, it does. That's why I'm trying to figure it out. There Let's see. Go. Here we go.
I would say I think the one detail that I didn't get, the Bucks get the number 8 pick in the 2026 draft, and they get they get their own pick back from the Hawks, which like still I still am amazed with like the Hawks getting that pick in the first place, because it's perfect. Like I do like for what it's worth. I am not like pro trade Jaylen Brown, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is definitely one of the few exceptions, and I do think like. One of the things, even when Boston does trade its stars, they typically do try to put them in good situations. And I do think if Brown got his team in his hometown, that'd be perfect for him. Granted, they would be scared of Brown because one thing that Jaylen Brown also does, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. So he may have even extra motivation to prove that they were wrong to make that deal. So
let's get this. I want to get this, make sure. So what does Milwaukee get in this deal, if I may ask, Matt?
So they would get Vucevic. It would have to be a 3-year deal, but you can make, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can make the latter 2 years non-guaranteed. They would get him. They would get Hauser. They would get Kuminga. They get Reese Shea. They'd get Kispert. They would get the number 8 pick in the 2026 NBA draft, and they would get their unprotected pick that the Hawks own.
So the number 8 pick in the 2028 draft, and then what else? Their unprotected pick back.
Their unprotected pick that the Hawks technically own due now, but they would send it back to Milwaukee.
Okay. All right. So what does Atlanta get out of this? Jaylen Brown? Just
Jaylen
Brown?
We get Jaylen Brown. He come home.
Okay. And then you guys get Giannis. Okay.
Giannis and Miles Turner.
Okay. Are you moving Keita in this deal at all, since he's no longer going to be the starting center?
That is a good question. I mean, like it's almost like Houston when they added Dwight Howard when they had Omer Asik. It was just like, look, you're on our payroll. Like you're really good at what you do. But it's definitely a good question. Like it's very possible they may add Keita to help sweeten the deal. Maybe even something to Atlanta. I don't know. Like, but that is definitely something worth pondering. But he is a starting center on a team friendly deal. So it really could go. Maybe that would be kind of like the deal breaker here. But I don't know. Like it's just one of those. You have this valuable player here on a cheap deal. Like if Milwaukee or Atlanta asks for it, you may have to bite the bullet and just say yes.
So do you want Keita in the deal as far as with Brown?
Are you asking me or are you asking?
Oh, no, Legend, because Legend's getting some of this that's back in Atlanta. So
they should
is Keita?
Keita's good, man. I don't know if
I
just
take
throw Keita in there.
More than happy to take him.
So okay. So Keita is going to Atlanta then. Okay. So here is what I got as far as Milwaukee is making a trading for Nikola Vucevic on a 1-year plus 2 option years deal. Sam Hauser, Jonathan Kuminga, Zachary Reese-Shea, Corey Kispert, number 8 pick in the 2028 draft, and getting back their own pick from Atlanta that's unprotected. Atlanta is getting Jaylen Brown and Neemias Queta or whatever, however say Keita, and Boston gets Giannis Antetokounmpo and Miles Turner. Are we all cool on that?
The number 8 pick in the 2026 NBA draft, not 2028.
2026. Oh, okay. So
the way ours went, it would be Mara. I think if it was Milwaukee, it'd probably be someone else, but I think we all get the general point of what would be going on there for sure.
Okay, so they get Ade Mara. That's right. Okay, so the Vucevic, Hauser, Kuminga, Reese-Shea, Kispert, Mara, and an unprotected first-round pick that they're getting back from Atlanta. Okay.
I personally, as an outsider here, think Milwaukee would probably want like a good amount more draft compensation than that. I just think one pick for Giannis. I don't know. I just think that
I think Milwaukee fans would be upset about that.
Yeah, and I think that kicking Jaylen Brown to Atlanta, like I think Atlanta would probably have to throw in. I think that's kind of the point of getting Jaylen Brown is then you kick him out and get maybe 3 to 5 picks back, swaps included in that. So I think Atlanta would probably have to throw quite a few future picks in there, and then Boston, they'd get something from Boston. I mean, they're still getting Giannis. So, I mean, I think if I had to guess with no intel, obviously, I'd say that I bet Milwaukee leaves this situation in real life with at least 5 new picks. If this is the model of it where it's Jaylen Brown and it's the Celtics and they kick Jaylen Brown elsewhere. So I just think they'd get a lot more, especially because they are taking a really undesirable asset here in Kuminga. It's not like that's a viable piece to get back. If anything, they're probably going to want more. I think Atlanta's pretty desperate to try and trade him. So I just think from an outsider perspective that it would probably be quite a bit more draft compensation back to Milwaukee than what we have laid out here.
I'd probably say, yeah, because, if they're not getting Jaylen Brown, then they're probably going to ask for a lot of picks in return. So what are you guys, Legend and Matt, how many picks each of you? Because, again, you're giving back first of all, the pick you're giving back was Milwaukee's in the first place.
Right.
So what else can you provide as far as first picks on top of that?
I'll just say this: I would agree under normal circumstances, but these are not normal circumstances. Like they waited way too long to confront this elephant in the room, and that's why this is kind of the perfect buy low for Giannis. I do agree that in normal circumstances, yes, you would do that. But truth of the matter is, I'm pretty sure reading the tea leaves on this intel, Giannis has said there's only 2 teams that I want to stay with if I get traded, and that's Miami and Boston, which really dwindles Milwaukee's leverage. And here's the thing: Miles Turner is coming off of a terrible season in Milwaukee. Yeah. Boston's doing them a pretty big favor. Granted, I'm advocating for it because I do kind of see the vision of Giannis and Turner. I do understand why they brought those two together. But the ends don't justify the means, obviously. So if anything, I could see definitely Milwaukee holding out for more picks because it is Jaylen Brown who came off all NBA second team, was a few votes away from the first team. That is an insanely good player. You're right about Kuminga. He isn't really the best asset. So Atlanta probably would have to add more, but I do think Boston, we're giving you the chance to start off with about as a clean a slate as you could ask for. So.
Yeah, I think from the Boston perspective, Boston maybe throws in a swap, maybe. I mean, but they are taking the Turner contract, which is an albatross, and yeah, they are giving back Jaylen Brown, who was he finished 6th in MVP. So I think it would be way more from Atlanta's side. Essentially the way I'm looking at this is Boston is trading Jaylen Brown for Giannis, and then Atlanta is trading with Milwaukee for Jaylen Brown. I almost think that they're going to be one big transaction, but I almost think they're 2 separate ones within the trade, or else I think it would probably be done already, to be honest. So I think that's probably what the holdup here is. And
Could we get another? Because we got 2 first-round picks, Caleb. The first they're getting back and Ademara.
Yeah, they get 8 this year, which is a good pick.
Could we squeeze one more? Would one more be fair?
I think from Atlanta, so I think it's probably one more in a swap from Atlanta. That's what I would ask for Jaylen Brown, personally.
Yeah, we got to sweeten the deal up a little bit more than what it is. Because I know
Could you do that? Could you do that, Legend?
Yeah, I would do it because it's getting Jaylen Brown. We're getting an MVP candidate. Right along with a rising upcoming star, Jalen Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So, which picks would you give up on top of that? Do you have your available Atlanta draft picks upcoming that you can go ahead? You would need to swap one, and you would need to give another one. If there a certain year, down the road year, that you would give up, and then a swap for what year? Legend.
Definitely do. I'll give up the 27 automatically. And maybe we'll do a swap either with 28, 29. We can do a swap with either one. And we'll throw in the 28. Maybe they do the swap on 29.
So okay. So which one are you swapping?
We'll do 20.
It'd have to be rules-wise 28. It'd have to be rules-wise 28.
So it have to be 28 to swap?
Yeah, so it'd be 27 first, 28 swap, 29 first would be the only legal way to do it because of the whatever stipend rule, the 2K thing that makes 2K way less fun.
So 27. So would it be a 2027 first or 2029 first that you want to give up? along with the 28 swap. Legend.
27 first.
All right. So we've got Vucevic, Hauser, Kuminga, Risache, Kispert, Ademara, unprotected Atlanta coming back to Milwaukee, a 27 first and a 28 swap for Jaylen Brown and Kata, and Giannis and Miles Turner going to Boston, and Jaylen Brown and Kata go to Atlanta. Is that better? Is that closer, Caleb?
I think it's good. That sounds fine to me.
I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So we have we've constructed the deal. All right. Everybody's off the speakerphone, and there you go. So Jaylen Brown is in Atlanta, Giannis is in Boston, Miles Turner's in Boston, and Milwaukee has a bunch of players, Ademara, and some picks for the future as well. So all right. So before we get into the free agency period, is there anything else that you guys need to do as far as players you have under contract, things of that nature? I know I'm renouncing quite a few guys here in just a minute here.
I have a few trades for OKC that I've already gotten cleared with the spot track trade machine here that I think make a lot of sense. The first one I have is Aaron Wiggins to Brooklyn for a 2028 second and a 2029 second. It was rumored by I think Brett Siegel that Brooklyn kind of likes Aaron Wiggins, and I'm sure he wants a bigger role. He doesn't really play on the Thunder, and the Thunder need to shed money. So I think that one is one that makes sense for everything. He's a good player. He was good in the finals for OKC, really helped them win games 2 and 4, I believe, in that series. But it's just time for him to go. And I think 2 seconds is a pretty reasonable price for a player on a really valuable contract for, I think, still 2 more years. He's under $10 million a year. So is everyone good with that one? Aaron Wiggins to Brooklyn for Atlanta second and 28 and Brooklyn second and 29.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
What else?
And the other one I have is a little bit more complicated, but it's not too bad. It's a 3-teamer with Detroit, OKC, and the Bulls. And in this one, it would be Detroit acquiring Isaiah Joe, getting themselves a shooter to space the floor that has a lot of experience in big games. It'd be the Bulls getting Karis LeVert's contract along with the second-round pick with their kind of cap space. I think a lot of what they're going to do in this rebuild is probably absorb bad deals and take on draft picks like we saw the Thunder do, like we saw the Jazz do. This is a age-old thing. Washington is doing it to the max right now.
What year's second rounder?
I did 2030 second-round pick to Chicago. If you guys think it should be more too, I just don't think LeVert's contract is that bad, especially being it's an expiring and it's under $15 million. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I didn't think that was too bad, especially for a team like the Bulls. I didn't think they deserved a ton of, comp to take that basically just into their cap space. And then for OKC, I had them getting cash from the Bulls because the Bulls have to trade something in the deal and they're not going to want to give up any draft picks. So cash considerations to OKC from the Bulls. And then a 2027 second via Detroit and a 2027 second via Milwaukee. Similar case to Wiggins. I think Joe's a good player who's just on a stacked team. And but OKC has to get off his contract. So Detroit, I think, gets someone who's a lot better than these picks that has 2 years left on his deal still at under $12 million. So basically, OKC gets 2 second rounders. The Bulls get Karis LeVert in a second rounder, and Detroit gets Isaiah Joe. Was this one that I kind of conjured up here.
Okay. So you got Isaiah Joe, Chicago gets Karis LeVert in 2032, and OKC gets cash and 2 second rounders in 2027. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the Bulls, to do this, the Bulls and Pistons both announced some guys too, like I'm sure they will come free agency. Yeah. So, and then
fair enough.
As we get into it, I'm going to be making a call to my friend running the Lakers here and see what he thinks about adding Lou Dort next to Luka and solving some of their defensive issues in the backcourt that we've talked ad nauseum about.
Okay, we're going to have to discuss that at a few here in a little bit. Then have to
right.
wait and see how that works itself out. Okay, interesting indeed.
The agents are
Once
putting
again,
out
thanks
the
so
feelers.
much again for joining us. Exactly. So NBA observations. We've gone through the draft. We're heading into free agency here. I'm renouncing several players except for Austin Reeves. Basically, I will be only one I will not renounce. Saving that precious cap hold is Austin Reeves. So we are going to go and get into it as far as the signings and things of that nature are concerned. So with that said, I'm going to, as we get into free agency, guys, announce that Austin Reeves has signed a 5-year, $241 million deal and is being traded because I don't want him here on $241 million deal. So with that said, he gets his max. He's happy. Luka's not happy because he's losing his golf buddy. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Business. But I am trading him in a 3-team deal. And so what I have proposed and what I came up with that looked good. Basically, I'm going to gut the Lakers out here. But before I do, you mentioned as far as Lou Dort is concerned. So what are you thinking of about Lou when it comes to Lou Dort? Because I might need more assets to complete my 3-team deal.
I think that Lou Dort is about as perfect as it gets next to Luka. If you're not going to have a star next to him, I think he really makes up for a lot of those issues that Luka provides. He doesn't need the ball much. He's great on defense. And therefore, I think he'd be pretty valuable to the Lakers. Maybe like a future swap valuable at some point in the future. He's an all-defense guy, was the highest voted guard and defensive player of the year in 2025, I believe.
All right. I get. We've
So
had
there's your
discussions
shell.
about Lou
There's
Dort.
your
Yes,
shell.
we've had. All right. I also could show you a whole bunch of highlight videos of him smacking people upside the head. And
Is this coming from the guy whose team employed Meta World Peace, who like physically assaulted James Harden in the playoffs? So this is not a factor for the Los Angeles Lakers.
I am interested. Yes, I am interested. I know he did not perform as well as we would like to see, but it is an upgrade. And since I am building around Luka and his incredible defensive prowess, I do have a need for a defensive guard per se. If that's the case, and Lou Dort, I know you guys need money badly. So, all right. With that said, you said you're sending me Lou Dort. What do you want from me? Did you say? Are we there?
I'm pretty open to offers. I think we're all good. I don't know if you don't seem to be here very well. I don't know.
Okay, that's my service. I apologize for that. But what are you thinking?
I think it would start with just not a straight up pick, but a future pick swap somewhere down the line. Therefore, I think OKC gets their value because they're likely to be better than the Lakers, but it keeps the Lakers' stash of tradable picks open. I think it makes sense for both sides for it to be a swap.
I'll be using those picks here and pick swaps.
Yes,
very shortly. So you only want one of my 5 pick swaps. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Realistically speaking, I think Dort's a good player, but he's going to be on an expiring or in a sign and trade situation. I'm assuming in an expiring for this. And he is, he's not everybody's cup of tea. He is a pretty up and down shooter. So, I mean, I think a swap is completely appropriate. Plus, people are not going to be in any favors in the mindset to do any favors for OKC, helping them save money, I imagine, with where they're at. So I think that is fine. One swap.
So, okay, for a future pick swap, I will go ahead and take that. If I'm getting Lou Dort for just a pick swap, I still have 4 more that I can go ahead and utilize.
And I want it as far down the road as we can get. 2032, 2033, unprotected pick swap for Lou Dort. Fair
enough indeed. And I still have, again, 4 more pick swaps available to me, plus also as well if you want to consider this year, but I'll just say 2 first-round picks if you do not include a Cameron Carr in that equation as well. So with that said, but while I'm now having to think about retooling my 3-team trade that I had all nice and pretty, but I'm not sure bringing in one of the individuals now that I got Lou Dort for pick swap is going to be exactly what I need now. Legend are heading into for Atlanta and Golden State. Are Atlanta and Golden State doing anything maybe with Matt's teams or Caleb's teams or another team out there that you're thinking of?
Well, for the Hawks, pretty much know what we trying to accomplish with Boston. We trying to get Jaylen Brown because that'd be a good improvement on building, boosting our roster, and trying to bring a championship back to Georgia and Atlanta, other than watching UGA win championships all the time. But that'd be a good start in bringing something different into the state. For Golden State, we're looking for a center. That's what I've been asking for like 5 years right now. Somebody that can protect this rim, not just be, oh, no, that's an open layup. Hey, you go get one. Somebody can protect this rim for us, help us out a little bit on that part. I know someone I would like to get, probably going to be impossible because I think he's going to ask for a lot. I wouldn't mind trying to get Walker Kessler just to get younger a little bit, kind of start the
So
age.
Matt's here, and he's running Utah. So they're currently not exactly on everybody's Christmas cards list as far as Walker Kessler and Utah. So just say that Matt might be interested, and as far as concerned, he might have his ears open because 5 years, 140 million doesn't seem to work for Walker Kessler right now. Which, when Matt told me that, and I actually looked that up as well, kind of blew my mind. Very confident young man Walker Kessler is in his abilities right now. So, do you have anything to offer for Matt on Golden State? I mean, you still have what, 4 number 1 picks if you include this year.
We still have a lot of number 1 picks still available. They're just sitting there.
Matt, interested in pods? Maybe should I throw out their pods and some picks? I don't know. You guys discuss. While I try to refigure out after Caleb threw me a curveball with Lou Dort.
It's funny because they did tell the Warriors, if you want Markkanen, pods has to be on the table. So that was 2 years ago. I feel like right now the Jazz really are not in draft pick hoarding. That's not their mindset right now, is to get more draft picks. They just gave up like pretty much their best ones for Jaren Jackson Jr. Funny enough, Kessler, actually after our pod the other day, Kessler went on the record and basically like made it clear he wants to stay in Utah no matter what. I mean, I'm sure that like if you can offer me something that's better than Kessler, yeah, I'm all for it. But what would that be from Atlanta's side?
Ooh. At that point, you're talking about giving Jalen Johnson. We can't do that. Ooh, can't do that.
What about Okongwu?
Would I want him?
Because you got Kata in there.
That is true. Like it's hard for me to see like how you could pry Kessler from the Jazz. I am the Jazz GM, and like so I would say like it doesn't matter how many picks you're offering me. Like for even if Kessler is overestimating himself, like he is a guy that I just don't want to give up because he's not someone that I can get someone off the scrap heap and just replace. Like so you could talk me into it if you are giving me someone who I see as more valuable than Kessler, and I feel like the players who fit that bill for Atlanta, they wouldn't do that for Walker Kessler. So, but I totally get why teams would be like, yeah, we want Kessler on our team.
Especially young, up and coming, it speaks a lot. And that's really what you want to do nowadays, get younger. Not get older, but get younger.
I think he's 26. I could be wrong though. He was a pretty old rookie when he came into the league. I mean, semantics about what is young. So,
but if I'm Golden State, I'll at least make a run for marketing and somebody. I would at least bring that back up to the table. Throw pods, throw some draft picks in there.
I definitely think that's something that when Utah has to start paying, I brought this up to Gerald in the past, like Utah will have to start paying all their guys in 2 or 3 years. So I don't know if you're willing to wait that long if you're Golden State, but that would probably be the golden time to get Markkanen.
Good point.
So any movement?
Doesn't seem like a ton of traction over there. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not a ton of traction right now.
Like, unless you blow my mind, I want to keep Kessler. I have all the statistical advantages in keeping him. Like, not unless you're giving me someone who's like a full-blown star. Like, Kessler might not be a star, but I do see him as a game changer. And like, I'd be intrigued to see who can top what we have offered him. But like, it's hard for me to see like what could entice me. Realistically, I should say.
Well, while you guys go ahead and discuss that, and again, I know that you need a big man in Golden State. The thing is, I've also said that we are renouncing the rights of everyone except for us interested in your good friend LeBron James. But that is entirely up to you. But that's up to you again, and I'll let you think on that one out. But I'm going to go ahead and with my 3-team trade, and I'm going to go ahead and start again. Austin Reeves signing for the max and immediately being traded because he's getting a sign and trade deal. He is moving to New Orleans. For as the second part of this is for Austin Reeves, a first-round pick, going to New Orleans for Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are going to the Lakers. The Lakers are also going to Miami and getting who was it? Let's see. Oh yes, Khalil Ware and Jaime Jaquez Jr. And Miami is getting, as far as the money that worked out, is Dalton Connect, Bronny James, a first and 3 pick swaps. So there you go. Got Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Trey Murphy, and Herb Jones coming in here. I plan on now moving Herb Jones because I've got Lou Dort. So Herb Jones and Lou Dort on the same team probably replicates the same kind of thing. So I'm looking to move him for a power forward, if that's available to anyone out there. If somebody has a power forward that they want to spare, let me know. I'm interested in moving Herb Jones as well. So, guys, any thoughts on that?
What does Herb Jones make?
About 13 million.
What if we kind of amend our deal here, and have this be kind of a Lou Dort for Herb Jones swap thing type of deal?
So you want Herb Jones?
I do. If you're moving off Herb Jones, I would love to move into Herb Jones, especially at that contract for I think either 1 or 2 more seasons as well.
Can you give me one more player from OKC?
Depends.
I would tell you Nikola Topic, but that kid is just cursed. I think at this point, I just feel bad for that kid.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in giving future draft picks. I mean, the other players that we have that would be tradable would be Cason Wallace, no. McCain, no. AJ Mitchell, no. Big Jalen Williams, with how the draft went, I don't think we can really afford to lose a center. And then Sorber, I think, is someone OKC really believes in and at least wants to see. So I'd be more interested in giving up some of this future draft, some of these future draft assets we have. We already traded 2 picks. I think we actually, I don't know why it said that. We have the Clippers pick and we have San Antonio's pick next year. So it said Philly, but it's actually the Clippers. So, or the Nuggets, sorry. So the Nuggets and Philly's picks are gone. We still have a pick swap with the Clippers next year. We're not going to be willing to move off of that, but we would just amend the swap. We would be able to just amend the swap and just do a straight up Herb Jones for Lou Dort trade.
But again, you're saving money on the deal. What am I need something else on the deal to make it happen. Just to need a little dirt.
What about a 2028 top 10 protected first? As if the top 10 protection is going to come into play here with the Thunder. I don't think you.
Yeah, that's so unattractive. Is there any other traded picks that you have in the coffer that I might be interested in?
Probably not. I think most of these are a little bit more valuable than her. Like, I think with how especially the new lottery rules, like I want to have the Clippers pick next year because I think it'll be right around pick 12 again. And now that's about as good as odds as you can get to get the first pick in this new format. And then Dallas, I don't think I'd attach a pick. I don't think I'd attach Dallas's pick. We're going to need draft assets at this point. So I don't
can't give me Sorber.
No Sorber. Nope. We need bigs. Our main guy that we're having to beat here is Wemby. Can't sacrifice big bodies. We saw that last year. OKC was down maybe one more big body maybe to guard Wemby, a little bit different look, and maybe that series is different. So we're not going to trade that guy who, again, I think OKC really does like and sees as a potential Isaiah Hartenstein replacement after he prices out of OKC here maybe after next season.
So could you give me when is the earliest protected that you could give me?
I just do 20. I do like 2028, 2029 unprotected because I've thought about it and it doesn't really matter. I mean, if SGA and Jalen Williams both get hurt, then maybe we'll get screwed and lose that pick if there's no protection. But even if I think that we're going to be well within the playoffs, and so I don't think it makes too much of a difference. So if you want Lu Dort and a 2028 unprotected OKC first round pick, then you can, but that's all the more I'm willing to do. I think that
I'll do that then. I'll do that.
Okay.
That's fair.
All right. Perfect.
For Herb Jones.
Perfect.
Okay. So the Lakers are bringing in Lu Dort, Trey Murphy, Khalil Ware, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. So far in these trades. Just wanted to get everybody up to speed as far as the Lakers concerned. Caleb has brought in Herb Jones and
that's it.
Who else? That's it. Okay. And then we had the massive Giannis, Jaylen Brown trade. Milwaukee has gotten a ton of players as well and picks as well. So, all right. Now we're getting into free agency, guys. All right. Looking at that, Matt, I'm going to bring it back to you. Eyeing somebody in free agency as far as it's concerned?
I'm trying to think, like with the Jazz, I do think their priorities are mainly just bringing back the guys from last year. So, I mean, obviously that starts with Kessler. That's going to be the biggest stuff in the room. I am intrigued to see like how they approach this because you and I have talked about this, how they definitely gave Kessler a fair offer. An idea that someone else brought up is the fact that like maybe what would smooth things over is if they sign him to a contract that starts off high and slowly descends with each passing year. Because it sounds like the one that they offered him, it starts low and then gets higher with each passing year. But like I do think the Jazz are probably going to they're going to re-sign Kessler. I think they're going to re-sign Nurkic. Before yesterday, I would have said they're going to re-sign Kevin Love too. But apparently now LeBron James wants him again. So who knows on that front? With the available cap room, I am intrigued, like, because we have been talking about trades. I do wonder, I do apologize if you're like, Matt, you should have brought this up before. But I do wonder if they are going to try to get in on OKC trying to cut off some of their contracts. Like, I do think the Jazz, among the things that they probably could use on their roster is a sharpshooter. So it wouldn't shock me if with the available cap space they have, they try to talk OKC into giving them Isaiah Joe. Like, what would you say about that, Caleb?
We were in advanced discussions to send him to Detroit, where we got 2 second-round picks on the table, but nothing can be official.
He's already gone, then. But
nothing can be official till the new league year, which we have not transitioned over into free agency yet. And I'm willing to listen, but it's going to have to be you who kind of comes with the offer here. If you want to be.
So let me tell you what the proposed deal was, Matt, so you have something to compare it to. That was Isaiah Joe to Detroit for Karis LeVert, and a second going to Chicago, and then OKC gets 27 second rounders. So if you want to make it a little less complicated and a little neater for Isaiah Joe, I think Caleb Ponce would absolutely like to hear that as well.
Be very open.
So what for Isaiah Joe?
We got 2 second rounders, a really good second rounder next year and a bad second rounder, both in 27, and then cash considerations.
That's enticing.
Okay, I like
that was the offer on the table.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what we're working with from Detroit.
Fortunately, the Jazz don't have as many expendable assets as they used to. They kind of gave, like I said, they gave him the best. They gave him the best ones for JJJ. It's unfortunately my mind is kind of going in so many separate directions at once. Like I really wish I was familiar with the assets they had so that I could see like how we could top that. The one thing that the Jazz do have that I think may entice OKC is they can't keep all their young players. They are going to have to start extending all of them soon. They have some promising young talent outside of the obviously they're not going to give up Ace Bailey or Keontae George or any of that, but I could see like, funny enough, you know what we have that perhaps OKC would be intrigued by just from a sentimental perspective, and I'm only kind of half joking. Cody Williams, Jalen Williams' younger brother, like maybe that could top whatever Detroit is.
Okay.
Because like that would make, I'm sure Jalen would be ecstatic to pair up with his brother. But
yeah, definitely. Okay. What would your thoughts be on? What's that? Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, his rookie year, he was terrible. But his sophomore year, he actually did start showing some progress. Some actually highly encouraging progress. Still raw offensively, but defensively, I think he's going to be a pretty darn good player on that end.
Yeah, so if this was maybe a year ago, I'd have a little bit more interest, but we're just entering into an era now where we really just don't have a ton of time for young developmental guys. And I do think Cody's going to turn around and be an okay player here, but we just don't really have the time he's needed in the NBA. So a guy I would be interested in is Bryce Sensabaugh. He's just a lot cheaper for 1 year. He kind of comes in and maybe replaces that sharpshooting for us. He's worse, but he's cheaper. But I know that he's shown flashes. He's had big scoring games there in those Jazz tankathons down the end of the season. So he'd be one I'd be interested in. And then other guys at the end of your roster, maybe like a John Conchar. If Sensabaugh, I'd really prefer Sensabaugh, but maybe we could talk about Conchar. But really my main thing is just getting salary off my books, especially bringing in Herb Jones. That was kind of money I was just planning on leaving, but I saw a good opportunity to maybe get a guy in that we really like. So I think the cheaper the better. So I think it would probably have to be Sensabaugh for us, or else we'd just take the savings, barring it was a better pick package. We'd just take the savings of getting him to Detroit.
It's mixed feelings on Sensabaugh because he came into last season with like pretty sizable expectations and he didn't really live up to them at first. But then towards the end of the season, he looked like the player that the Jazz think he can be. So I do think there'd be a little hesitation there on my part. But like, I do think that like realistically, this could be something that both teams could approach in the summer. Like it's funny because after the Jazz did everything in their power to ensure that the Thunder could not get their pick, that like there's a slight possibility that they may try to both sides may try to help each other out. But like I could totally see why you'd want Sensabaugh. And I think from the Jazz perspective, they'd be a little hesitant for just Isaiah Joe when I think Sensabaugh is more of a pure scorer. He is streaky, but I think like they, especially with someone who basically whose future they can control. So yeah, like I get that.
Yeah, would you have any interest in if we were to also rescind our Aaron Wiggins trade and make it a Wiggins and Joe swap, send Wiggins and Joe to Utah? I don't know I don't know Utah's financial situation off the top of my head. I don't know if that's even possible. But that kind of accomplishes our goal of getting off money. Sensabaugh is probably worth at least 3 seconds to 2 seconds on his own, if not more. And so if he was a part of a package back for both of them, I'd be interested in that too, as long as there's maybe 2 seconds thrown on top of him.
Man, it's tough for me, just like because like if I get the intrigue in Sensabaugh just because like he was actually pretty impressive towards the end of last season, which like would give you, but at the same time he is going to be a free agent in 2027. I don't think the Jazz are going to extend him just because they're trying to hold off on paying their guys. Like when they can. Probably going to do the same thing. They did that last season with Kessler. They're probably going to do that this summer with Keontae George. Not out of lack of belief, but more like it's just the smartest play to make. But I think that definitely is intriguing. Like, of course, but OKC just got like a score for free with Jared McCain, and we're gonna give him another one. Like OKC unlocked McCain after he was struggling in Philadelphia, and I think the Jazz would be afraid of what if the same thing. Sensabaugh, who's streaky but not consistent, like now he's put on the Thunder where it's perfect for him. I think that's the one thing where the Jazz would kind of be just like, ooh, like. You could justify it with Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, 2 NBA champions who helped the Thunder. Like, I think there is. I think we would definitely discuss this. Like, I wouldn't say yes, but I wouldn't hang up the phone.
Okay, well, unfortunately, our clock is ticking down here, and the league year opens in about probably 90 seconds. So we're working on borrowed time here to figure out. It's up to you guys. If we have deals in place that we're comfortable with, but if you want to make a trade, we haven't sent them to the league office yet.
All right.
Well, again, before we go into it with free agency, so Matt, do you? Before we head into free agency, do you want to take a deal, or do you want to talk about a framework of a deal for? Involving Sensabaugh and whatnot, because again, Caleb Ponce, he has other deals in place for Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, but you'd be getting a lot of talent in return.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say no for now, just because we may look towards the other free agents because we want productive players, but not if they come at the cost of some of our decently promising young players.
For sure. I understand your decline, but we are going to accept our other deals and set them on their way.
I kind of threw this conversation for a loop, didn't I?
Detroit and Brooklyn. We're going to go on our way with our savings and picks.
There you go, indeed. Although, if you are interested in moving Sensabaugh and Filipowski, the Lakers are here for you, my friend. Just wanted to mention that as well. So,
it's not a terrible deal, but I do think that if the Jazz do that, it's for an upgrade. It's for someone who's ready to win now. And so Wiggins and Joe, that is pretty solid, but there's always the possibility that Sensabaugh could wind up being a better player than them. That's the one concern.
All right. Well, with that, again, we are heading into free agency. Again, if there are any other deals or frameworks or deals, please let me know. Legend, I'm going to start with you, my friend. Who are Golden State and Atlanta targeting in free agency?
For Golden State, I would contact Brooklyn for their center because that would fill our need. We'll go after Claxton. That would be one of the biggest.
You're going to go after Claxton. He's a free agent. Is that correct? Or
I think he is. I think he's a free agent.
Let me see. Let me see on Spot Track if that's the case. Let me just check real quick. Nick Claxton. Oh, actually, I do have trade machine up. No, I don't have trade machine up anymore. Nick Claxton, if he is still on Spot Track listed as a looking up right now. So you're going after Nick Claxton, is that correct?
That's correct. To fill in that center need that
he would have to make a trade with Brooklyn. He has still 2 years left on his contract.
We will be quick to answer that phone call, see what they want. Willing to throw in some draft picks. Willing to throw one of our young players in. I know they're still in rebuilding mode.
So let's just say, Caleb, you're running Brooklyn. What would you think would be a fair deal between Golden State and Brooklyn
to send Claxton to Golden State here?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull up the machine here. I've got it on retainer. That's the wrong team. Let's see. I think Brooklyn is going to want to be as good as they can these next few years, just because they don't have their picks in. They're over to Houston. I think we're probably going to see them make moves more to win. We've already brought in Aaron Wiggins, who we think is probably going to slot in and either play heavy minutes or start at the 2-3. This is just a pretty blank slate in Golden State. I'm going to be totally honest right now. There's not a ton that I think makes a ton of sense. What did you have in mind? Because looking at the contracts here, it seems like a pretty tough deal to get to, especially with, I think the piece I'd really like would be Moses Moody had he not suffered that really terrible injury towards the end of the season, but he did. And so, I mean, kind of what did you have in mind? What were you thinking?
Moses Moody was definitely the one I had on the board, but that injury definitely does hurt the stock pretty badly. But that's one person I was definitely willing to throw in. I was willing to give up maybe one of our draft picks as well, throw that up in there. And then I got to think there's another young person I want to throw in, but I'm iffy about putting him in there right now. I kind of want to keep Pause with something sweeter.
Well, if I'm assuming you're talking about Will Richard, and we'd kind of liked him to be in the deal. So I think that one first, top 10 protected future first, Will Richard and Moody for Claxton. That's the deal that we would do.
We're going to take it because we really need to fill that center. That's been an issue for a long time.
Okay, we agreed. Moses Moody is going to be rehabbing in a secondary market within a market in Brooklyn. No one's going to even know who he is. He's not on the Knicks. So be an easy rehab for him.
So Moses Moody goes to Brooklyn for Nick Claxton. Is that correct?
Moses Moody to Brooklyn for Moses Moody, Will Richard, and what year did you want to make that first? I guess I don't think we have much of a preference. Ideally, probably somewhere 2030, 2031, I guess, if we had to pick when Curry and Butler are done.
Yeah, I probably go with 2031. Now I know for sure they both are gone now.
Okay, yep, 2031, top 10 protected first. So, yeah.
So Golden State gets Nick Claxton for a 2031st, Will Richard, and Moses Moody. So there you go. Brooklyn stockpiling indeed. So anything else? JY says starting lineup is Luka, Dort, Murphy, LeBron, Durant. The Durant center from Detroit. Is this wishful thinking or reality? I think they will re-sign him, JY. I don't think that he is going to escape because remember, Jalen Duren is on a restricted, which is a good question before we get into it. And I'm going to bring Matt back into the conversation here. What do you guys think? Any of you guys, go ahead. Just let me know. What do you think Jalen Duren is going to get on a contract here from Detroit? Because I have a feeling, JY, that he's not. And by the way, I've already traded for Khalil Ware. Khalil Ware, I'm slotting in as my starting center here for the Lakers. You've got a lob threat who could stretch it out and is a killer rebounder as well. So, Matt, for Jalen Duren, what are you thinking?
Boy, it's kind of it's a complicated situation. It's much more complicated now than it was back in April because oh boy, that playoff run was a pretty bad look for him when Paul Reed was outplaying him during that series against the Cavaliers. That kind of does that kind of lowers the price a bit, but maybe the Pistons they take the glass half full approach. If it was his first legitimate playoff minutes, sometimes people sputter sometimes young players sputter in their first real exposure to high stakes basketball. And I do think that, and not to get too off the rails here, but I do think what Duren gets will definitely factor into what Kessler gets from the Jazz. It could factor into what Kessler may set his price for, or the other way around if he doesn't get enough. I think that Duren will probably get. I'm just trying to think. He made All NBA third team, right?
Who did? Duren, yes, he did.
So I'll say maybe. Huh?
I think it's your feedback. Sorry about that.
Oh, my bad.
Feedback.
I'd say maybe 4 years. I'd say 4 years, $135 million.
Ooh, so that's about 33 million a year. Do you think he'll go for that, Caleb?
I honestly think we've kind of talked about this with Reeves. I think that most of the time now we're really early in this process with these aprons, and that certainly changes things. But I think that I'm going to be interested to see if he doesn't just get max or near the max from Detroit. I just think that's how this works a lot of time. I don't necessarily think they're not going to feel good about it. Like they're going to do it and just be like, man, we'd have to. But I do think if he hits the open market, like why would Chicago or Brooklyn or the Lakers, like they should come to Duren with a max offer in 2 seconds. Either you're going to feel bad about it when you get him, maybe, or like you're a little overpaying him, but he is a really good player despite his bad playoffs. And not only that, if Detroit matches it, if you're a team like Brooklyn who's in the East, if Detroit matches it, Brooklyn's kind of screwed, or Detroit's kind of screwed if they want to match it, and they have their guys now and they can't get out of it. So I think it's going to be really hard to pry Duren out of Detroit, frankly, and I think he's probably going to get a lot more money than everybody wants him to, and that's just kind of the nature of these things, just like Reeves.
Fair enough. Because yes, Duren, I don't think is going to be going anywhere from Detroit. I don't think he'll be leaving JY. But again, I traded for Ware already. I got a starting lineup right now of Dort, Murphy, Luka, and Ware. I'm still thinking about a 4. So Legend, my friend, how are you today?
Man, I'm pretty good. What we got cooking?
What we got cooking is there anything that I could offer you in regards to a first for Onyeka Okongwu that I have that I just got from my good friend Caleb Ponce?
Oh no, that's a hard one right there.
Okay, all right, because he was a backup for so many years. So
we good for right. Oh, what you talking about? That's the question. I was just saying. What you offering?
He's a backup for many years. He just couldn't seem to crack the starting lineup. Now that he has, just, I don't know. Just asking. Just let you know that there's a friend over here that is interested in a power forward. So there you go. Indeed. So all right. Just thought I'd ask. Indeed. But speaking of which, as far as any available free agents you guys are cornering in on right now for your teams.
I will decline the team option on Kenrich Williams and bring him back on a minimum contract. That's my free agent. I made my free agent. I think he would. I mean, I don't think that anyone's going to be beating the doors down for him. And I think he'd probably take a small discount to stay in OKC based on everything he said. He seems to really like it there. I think he could have been traded multiple times back when the Thunder were in their full tank days. And I think he kind of always wanted to stay. So I do think he'd take that unless maybe someone came in with the crazy like taxpayers or non-taxpayers MLE, which I don't feel like has any, maybe like a less than 0% chance of happening with the lack of minutes he's played. So I do think he'd accept that. If you guys have an issue with that, I'd be willing to give him a little bit more. We really like what he brings into the locker room, but I think that in reality, I imagine that's what would happen is he'll be back in OKC on minimums going forward.
Fair enough. Matt, is there anything as far as for your teams that they would be looking for in free agency?
It's a good question because I think the Celtics, the moves that I've seen from this year has been just like getting on the margins players. They have the non-taxpayers MLE, and I'm just like, yeah, you had a player like that, you'll beat the 76ers in the first round, but that's not the bar. The bar is winning the title. So you had some, I wouldn't necessarily be against reuniting with Anthony Simons. He was good in Boston. Celtics fans weren't happy when they traded him, especially when Vucevic really did not work out for them. But at the same time, do you bring back Simons and think, okay, now we're back as title contenders? And I think the answer is pretty much no. I think what the Celtics are going to try to do is they're going to try to go bargain bin shopping. Brad Stevens also doesn't really have the best history with signing big name. I shouldn't say big name free agents, but the only 2 times where he's paid more than the veterans minimum for players on the open market were Dennis Schroeder and Danilo Gallinari. And Schroeder was a bust, and Gallinari got hurt before he even got the chance. So but he has been pretty successful with more under the radar free agents. So I do wonder if he may trust himself there. Like I also do I do wonder if they are going to try to. We've discussed trades, and maybe I should just get off that topic once and for all. I don't want to waste any more time. But it wouldn't surprise me if they try to use the mid-level exception and the Simons TB to try to pry solid players that may not be too valued by their teams right now, instead of signing players in unrestricted free agency, because I don't think that there's a whole lot of there's game changers in this free agency class, or ones that can be signed for the non-taxpayers mid-level exception.
No problem. Legend, before you head on out, my friend, is there any other moves that you want to make for Golden State or Atlanta?
I think for Atlanta, getting Jaylen Brown would be the biggest thing they'll do for us this free agency, honestly. And I would try to bring back most of everyone that we got, especially our young pieces, and see what we can build upon after what we did this past season. Because that was a really good turnaround when they did the Trae Young trade. Going to the playoff, that was a good run. That showed a lot of potential signs. Outside of that embarrassing blowout to the New York Knicks, hey, I don't feel that bad about that now. We don't only won 2 games off of them. But other than that, I wouldn't do too much with them. Get Jaylen Brown, and I think we go from there. Golden State, just try to get a center, try to continue to add maybe another young piece or two from that point, and let's see, can you give Steph one more shot at it, before he get ready to hang it up.
Fair enough indeed. So once again, go ahead and check out Legend right there at I Got Next Sports Media. Truly appreciate, Legend, you taking the time to go ahead and stopping by with your thoughts. And again, I will see you next. If I don't get you on an NBA observations beforehand, I will see you next Tuesday for our live NBA draft coverage, which you guys are also enjoying. Welcome to come on and stop in as well as for our live NBA draft coverage on Tuesday night. So, but yeah, Legend, appreciate it, man, as always.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
You too. So let me throw this to you guys. And once again, I've got Matt John from the jnotes.com, part of the fan-sided experience, and Caleb Ponce from the Suave Report, the New Century Press. Let me throw this to you guys. Got the Lakers. So I just got turned down for Okongwu, but I need someone else in that forward spot, and I already traded LeBron's son away, so I've already burned my bridge for LeBron James, and I'm so brokenhearted about it too. With that said, how much do you think Peyton Watson can get in free agency? What do you think is a deal that he can get? Because I'm thinking whether or not the Lakers, after all their trades, can still afford to get a player such as that.
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's probably going to be about somewhere between 20 to 28 million. I would think somewhere in that range with how well he played last season. He's young. He's at a premium position that we're seeing it like an all-time high value after the finals, all the big wings the Knicks had. So I think that he's probably just kind of going to get hamstrung being back in Denver because of the lack of a market. But I do think that if you're really interested in a 4, they're probably going to trade Cam Johnson. So I think one of those guys makes sense for the Lakers.
That's what I was thinking.
And I think, frankly, it's Cam Johnson. I just think Peyton Watson's going to be priced out for the Lakers after all these moves that you've made.
So if I throw a 4 for 100, which I would probably be able to squeeze out because I haven't, unfortunately, been able to fill out a good portion of my roster just yet. 4 for 100, I could probably still squeeze out. Do you think that could get him, or at least get the interest?
If you're still able to do that, I think that he would really think about that. I think Denver might just match it, but he'd at least really think about it. I mean, that's, I think, right about what his range is going to be. So if you can do that still with your cap, then I definitely think you'd be in play.
I have the floor.
Go ahead. I'm here.
I'm assuming, I would say it's not the worst thing in the world the Lakers don't get Watson. I mean, he did break out and well enough that they are willing to part ways with Johnson, with Cam Johnson. I do think if that is the case, it's not perfect. He definitely didn't have the best season in Denver, but I do think that's something that the Lakers would definitely look into. He's not a big, but I think he does kind of help them with a problem on their team. He gives them wing defense. So like, I think what I'm looking forward to this off season is just waiting how certain dominoes fall and seeing how teams react to that. Like for example, like if I'm the Lakers, a guy who I would like on my team, like with the Jalen Duren situation, try to look into Paul Reed. Like he was awesome in these playoffs, and I do think.
I did, but he's got another, I think, 2 years left or a year left on his contract with Detroit at $5 million. Trust me, in our conversations about an hour ago, I looked at that, but he's probably, I mean, he's on a pretty relatively inexpensive deal for Detroit, so I don't know how I could get him.
It's possible. It will depend on what Duren gets
Matt.
paid. These tax aprons, teams are going to avoid it. So I do think that like if Duren gets paid enough, I'm not sure what Detroit's tax situation is. Is it bad? Like they're paying Cunningham and they're gonna have to pay Duren. They're paying Stewart. I think they want to keep Tobias Harris. I could be wrong.
Yeah, probably.
So if Duren is that expensive, like they will try to do with what OKC is doing. They're trying to cut ties with some of their guys, and Paul Reed, his value probably has never been higher. So like they may say we need to trade off Paul Reed just to get ourselves further, just a little under the cap to make room for Duren. So like I do think that the Lakers are definitely going to be one of those teams that, even though they have the Reeves situation, because they are also a cap space team, they can very much look into how to react to when the bigger dominoes fall this summer.
So what are you thinking as far as for a Paul Reed or a Cam Johnson is concerned? Because Cam Johnson, if Denver wants to get cheaper, which I'm assuming Cam Johnson is who they probably want to move off of, what is it worth to the Lakers in order to get him at another $23 million for next season?
How far under the cap are the Lakers?
Well, with the trades I made, we don't have the financial flexibility that we once did. We are probably, after this move, that's probably just minimums from here on out. If we do go that high.
I don't know why I keep forgetting about these trades.
And I'm probably not reasonable about
Hachimura. Yeah,
because Hachimura is probably going for about at least $20 million a year, if not more. So,
yeah, because I feel like Detroit would make that trade just to get him off. They wouldn't take more. Do the Lakers have any trade exceptions?
No, they don't really have any trade exceptions. That I don't believe they do. I've already traded. I have that first round pick from OKC that I got back in a trade from Caliph. That's pretty much all I have because I've already utilized all my first round picks and my swaps outside of that. So I have a future OKC pick is what I have left. But you're giving me Cam Johnson. If you want me to take on Cam Johnson and his salary, I got to get something back in return.
He's on an expiring. That's fine. What is this? He's not a huge. I mean, a year ago he just got traded for Michael Porter Jr., who's an established good player and an unprotected future first. I don't think all of a sudden, with one less year on his deal, he's a asset you've got to attach stuff to. I mean, the trade that I've cooked up here that I think makes sense would be Jared Vanderbilt and Jake LaRavia for Cam Johnson, and probably that OKC pick to Denver, in my opinion. I think Cam Johnson's still a good player and a valuable asset, especially to a winning team. He was just in a weird spot, and I don't think he was healthy most of the year.
Can you give me some seconds?
If you give us a first, we will give you a second. We'll give you a second, and I think that is what we'll do.
Because I'm dying to get rid of LaRavia and Vanderbilt. For Cam Johnson and a second. Can you give me at least a high second?
Take any second you want. I am not going to go into the depths of the seconds. So you can, if we have a high second, you can have it. But we get the first from OKC.
Or somebody that might project as a high second. Okay, whatever one that would project as a high second. and Cam Johnson for Jared Vanderbilt and Jake LaRavia. Yeah, you got it. Because I'm trying to get all this stuff off off the Lakers that are just didn't give me much in return. So
yeah, and the OKC 2028 pick. We need that. These are two really bum players, frankly, that we're taking. And Cam Johnson, he is coming off a bad year. He's played in the finals. He was good on Brooklyn for years, and he had a somewhat of a bad year last year. But again, I think he was hurt most of the year. He's on an expiring, so you clean up your books. And if he does suck, you can just let him walk. And then that's something we don't have with Jared Vanderbilt, who we know is going to suck because he sucks. And you gave him $12 million a year, and now we have his contract. So that's we need that OKC pick.
And OKC first. All right. So outside of signings, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do that because the fact that you're taking on Vando, you're taking on LaRavia, and yeah, all right. So I don't have much in the way of assets left. I have, but at least I've got a much younger, more athletic team than I had before that you could build around Luka going forward. Plus, like you said, I have some money that's freed up for next season. So yeah, that's where we're at. So for the Lakers, again, I'm getting on my team, I'm getting Lou Dort, Khalil Ware, Trey Murphy, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Cam Johnson. I'm getting rid of Bronny. I'm getting rid of Vando, LaRavia, Austin Reeves, and who else am I getting rid of? I know I'm getting rid of someone else. Did I say Dalton Connect earlier? I think I did say Dalton Connect earlier in the deal. So, yes. All right. Well, there you have it for me, outside of some signings that I'll go ahead and do and I'll talk about later. Matt, for Boston and for Utah, is there anything else that you would need or look forward to outside of just some small signings to go ahead and fill out the rest of your rosters?
I think with the Jazz, they definitely will. If they lose Love, and it sounds like they are, I do think they are going to try to find more veteran type guys. I'm not sure if they have the non-taxpayers mid-level exception. I think they do. They are under the tax. It wouldn't shock me if they try to talk themselves into someone like Marcus Smart, like just because he has familiarity with Will Hardy and with Danny Ainge, I do think that that's someone that they try to talk themselves into because they need. I think as they really do, even if like there's really, how do I say this? There's no pressure on them. I still think they want to be as good of a team as possible. And Smart even has familiarity with Jaren Jackson Jr. I could see the Jazz talking themselves into giving Smart maybe not the whole thing, but I do think a sizable raise compared to what the Lakers were paying him. Like, he definitely outplayed that deal. Would you say that's correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I could see Smart being their target because they need defense and they need veteran leadership. But, I mean, I could also see the Lakers doing everything they can to keep him after, I think, because he won them a playoff game, didn't he?
Yeah, you did in the last 30 seconds against Houston, as far as it's concerned. But we've got Lou Dort now, as I mean, that's what a younger version of Marcus Smart, you could say, essentially. So I don't know if I don't know if the Lakers would be inclined to go ahead and keep Marcus Smart. Like you said, if Marcus Smart gets more expensive and you just brought in Lou Dort to play that Marcus Smart role as a younger version of that, then maybe I'd probably look somewhere else if that's the case, since I've got Lou Dort on my team, man.
Yeah, but I think that Smart definitely makes sense as a Jazz target this summer if they are going to spend money. But yeah, like Boston could also look into reuniting with Smart. I'm not sure if they would. I think that they are going to try to I think they could try to trade for, I think, productive players on discounts on teams that don't really need them. Like, I can list examples if you want, but I mean, I keep going back to trades. But like guys like Paul Reed, guys like Ty Jerome, like he's on Memphis right now. They're rebuilding. They don't need him. I think those are the kind of like moves that they will probably make. Like, I think they're much more likely to make trades than they are to sign big names on the free agent market.
All right, Caleb, any last moves you would make before I go ahead and announce some free agent signings that I could try and see if I can make with the rest of my roster?
Honestly, I think with OKC, we're probably already overspending what we want to do after that Herb Jones trade just kind of fell into our lap with something we were really interested in. We re-signed Hartenstein. Did we do that on were we live when we did that, or was that a
we were live. I think you did it. Yeah, you already stated that he opted out, but he was able to go ahead and get you said a 2-year deal, or was that a 3-year deal? Did you?
I said 3 for 77 was the deal. I think that's a somewhat realistic. He'd probably honestly take a little less than that, not a ton, but we'll stay. I said that we'll stick with that. I think we're tapped out. I don't see anybody else that we can. I mean, I guess this is me. If either one of you guys have interest in taking a really cheap flyer on Nikola Topic, I will trade him, but he's had really serious injury concerns and never played. So I totally understand if there's nothing on that. But we are going to need to save every million we can, and we'd trade him for pretty cheap here after being the 12th pick. So if either one of you has any interest in that.
The second. So all I got is 2 seconds that are left. So if you want the worst of my 2 seconds, I'll throw a flyer on Nikola Topic.
Would you do both seconds for Nikola Topic?
No. Not with his history.
Okay. I think we're doing it. I think we're after we draft Burries, we have our guards in. I think we've got to pull the trigger here on that and just get off some money. Especially with Herb Jones in the rotation. I just don't know where there's room for him. I feel terrible for the guy in real life, especially, he's just gone through so much. But I think here in this simulated world, that will not happen. I think I just have to save the money where I can. And I think everybody else left on the team we really like and want to keep around. So he's kind of where we can afford to save some money.
And for me, again, there's probably other smaller signings that I would consider, but in the sake of time, the free agents, I could probably see myself being interested in taking that are feasible with whatever the Lakers would have left spending wise. Would probably be Robert Williams III. If I could get him on as cheap a deal as I could, as far as it's concerned, Robert Williams III on a 2-year deal, and see if I could go ahead on a mid-level, if I could. And I don't want to take a flyer. I was thinking about a flyer on Porzingis, but I think I'm gonna pass. I think I'm gonna pass on Porzingis.
I don't know. I think him and Luka. Imagine those two together. How good they'd be if Luka and Porzingis were together on a team. They'd be so.
You're
good.
You're just saying. You're just trying to goad me into that. I don't think he'd take a minimum. I don't think he'd take a veteran minimum. So I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there yet to take a veteran minimum. But it did cross my plate. Go ahead, Matt.
I just thought that was like that's Robert Williams isn't a bad idea if you ask me, but I also think, like, are you really going to pay full mid-level for someone who, as talented as he is, he's just a specialist at this point. You can't depend on him. He's kind of in the same ballpark as Robinson and Porzingis. Like
so the mini mid-level probably for him at best.
Yeah, I think so.
How much is that worth?
About 5 to 7.
Okay, like, yeah, I could see that.
You would have to nurse him throughout the year, just so that he's available and upright for the playoffs. That's for sure. But
he's a game changer whose availability makes him a specialist. Unfortunately, like, he's a fantastic player. Like, he was awesome in Boston, but like he proved.
Yeah.
But like by then it was like, no, you can't depend on this guy. If you're hoping for a fully healthy season, you're gonna have to play him like 15 to 18 minutes a game.
Yeah, that's what I wouldn't play him no more than that. That's where I play him. And the other free agent that I would try to go ahead and look at, I do need another ball handler. And that's a problem. I don't have any idea on ball handlers that are, unless Quentin Grimes is, but I think Quentin Grimes is going to go and get some money this off season. So I think he'll be too expensive. I mean, you already took Anthony Simons away from me. And Colin Gillespie is going to be too high because he's coming off a good season in Phoenix. Do you think CJ McCollum would actually decide to go ahead, or do you think he'll re-up with Atlanta?
Probably. I don't know who the other shooter's going to be, and he played a big role there. I mean, in this world, I guess they get Jaylen Brown, and then maybe they rethink it, and maybe he has to land somewhere else, maybe like Boston. I think maybe that could be a place if they do strike out on Anthony Simons. But I think that the likelihood is that even if they do, he'd probably work something out to go back there. I just don't know what the other place would be off the top of my head.
Matt, what are your thoughts on Colin Sexton?
It's almost kind of a shame with him because he's never gotten the chance to play for a good team. And the one chance he did was this year, and then Charlotte got rid of him. So he is definitely one of those, like, if the price is right, I'd bring him in because he definitely, like, the one thing he is kind of in the same class of Simons of, like, he really can score. Like, but we saw last year what happens with guys like that. There just isn't much value in guys who can whose one thing they can do is just put the ball in the basket. I mean, that sounds ridiculous to some degree, but Simons got dumped and Boston tried to trade him for a while before they finally did. Utah basically was just like, we'll trade him for Nurkic, even though we already have quite a few bigs. Jordan Clarkson, like they just waived. So like I am looking forward to seeing like what his market is going to be. He can score and he's efficient at it, but like he doesn't bring a whole lot else to the table. So that would be
with that. Well, I'm probably going to have to take him on a veterans minimum because we do need scoring and ability to handle the ball and run an offense off the bench. So we do kind of need that. So I'm going to probably get him on a veterans minimum, I guess, as a flyer. I guess I do that. Let me ask you this. You mentioned Jusuf Nurkic. Where does he go in all this?
Like it's like I do think Utah wants to keep him. Like, I think that they he also kind of surprised everyone, like Love did, except Nurkic's impact was more on the court than in the locker room. But he is a good locker room vet. He embraced Utah. Again, you don't see that every day with guys who come join the Jazz. So I do think that they are probably going to. It wouldn't surprise me if Utah really does try to keep him. It didn't sound like he didn't necessarily say I'm out of here, but he didn't make it sound like, oh, I want to stay like if it's the last thing I do, I'm going to stay a Jazz man. So I am looking forward to seeing what his market's going to be. He was pretty impressive because everybody kind of laughed with how bad he was in Phoenix, but his time in Utah kind of showed, no, if you put him in the right role, he actually still has some juice left. Not a rim protector anymore, but good passer for his size, really good offensive rebounder. I do think like the Jazz, I think they want to have that behind Kessler and JJJ. But I could see a team swooping in and picking him up just because he was that good until he had to fix his sleep problems.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess if there's any player I'm going to resign, because again, I think Rui Hachimura is just going to be way too expensive. I really think San Antonio or another high-end player off team is going to go after him and outbid the Lakers. I am going to bring back Jackson Hayes because he has got that Slovenian passport now, and he likes playing with Luka, and he did have his best season, I think, overall, coming off the bench for the Lakers. So to add a little bit more size, I'm going to bring back Jackson Hayes. I'm going to give him a raise because I'm allowed to do so to go ahead and be able to get it done. What, $5-6 million? I think probably we'll go ahead and be able to do that. I guess a 1-on-1. We'll go ahead and do another 1-on-1 because he seems to like those. So indeed. So I will bring back Jackson Hayes. So I've got my rotation there. Again, shrewd negotiations with Caliph and Matt John right there. Guys, before we head on out, any last changes you want to go ahead and get?
I'll just say this: like it's not the end of the world if Boston doesn't get Giannis, but they definitely can't do nothing this summer.
Mhm.
Like if Miami wins the Giannis sweepstakes, they very well they might. Like the guy that I would go after if I were Boston, like, and unfortunately I'm coming off like I'm so anti-Kata. He was really good this year until the playoffs. But the golden target for me for the Celtics would be Rudy Gobert, because it sounds like Minnesota's kind of done with him. But it's only because Wembanyama humiliated him. If he came back east, that wouldn't be a problem. So if I'm the Celtics and Minnesota's serious about trying to get rid of him, and it also sounds like they want to get in on the Kyrie Irving sweepstakes, Gobert would be my plan B. And I honestly think that's an awesome plan B if Giannis is off the table.
Caleb, any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
No, I mean, I really think that if this summer ends for Oklahoma City and they have sent out Joe, Wiggins, Dort, and Topic, and they've replaced him with Burries, Dalen Swain, and Herb Jones, I think that's about as close to a home run as you can get if you're OKC, especially with you re-signing Hartenstein and bringing back Kenrich Williams, a guy they really need and like for their locker room there. I think this would be about as good realistically as you can get. And even then realistically, like, they're not going to trade Topic. They wouldn't do that. They really are good with player relationships, all that. I'd say they wouldn't do that. Plus his value is probably even lower than that with all these injuries he's had. So all in all, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I think OKC would be a better team next year. They have these big wings now that I think are as important as ever with Swain and Herb Jones. So pretty happy with it. Over the second apron still probably, which is why this won't happen. But if they are willing to be a second apron team, these are all things that are relatively within the realm of possibility outside of the Topic deal, in my opinion. I did it on the trade machine. Lou Dort for Herb Jones just works money-wise with New Orleans, that is. I don't think he's probably going to get moved. I just don't, or maybe he will. I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, happy with it overall. Burries, and I think my number one guy I'd love for OKC to get, regardless of position, realistically, would be Wagler. There's been some rumors they're going to get up for him. I really like Wagler a lot as we've been over Gerald. I think that he's going to be a really good player. After that, it's Burries. And my whole plan was Burries and Yaxel, and then Sacramento took him 7 after Nate Ament went 4. So but threw a wrench in our process there. But, still, I think Swain
Enjoy the club.
Yeah, I think Swain probably is a real option for OKC at 12 and definitely 17 if they stay there. So, I think I'm happy with it. I think OKC exits the offseason a better team, and that's pretty hard when you're as good as OKC was last season.
And I know for my Lakers, they're younger, more athletic, quicker, faster. I'd still like to shore up with whatever. If I had any more money left, I would go ahead and try and shore up the shooting or rebounding a little bit. But yeah, thanks a lot to the mock simulator, draft simulator, who took away all my forward and big man options. Sara was gone. Cenac, who I wanted the most, was gone. Steinbach, all those centers gone. So before it got to me, so I had to change course and decide in other options as far as it's concerned. So I'll be still looking for some size and shooting going forward. But again, I'm younger, more athletic. I am built more for the now and the future than I was in my current scenario with what I was stuck with which ultimately I think we're going to be stuck with here by this time next month with the LeBron, Kevin Love, triumvirate with Austin Reeves and Luka. Can't wait for that indeed. But Matt, what are you working on with the J Notes? And Caleb, I'll go ahead and make sure you get a plug for the Suave report before we head on out.
I think what I've been touching up on lately has been Kessler's free agency, and also with the draft coming up. Like, it does sound like Kessler, like, he doesn't like the backlash. I won't say backlash, but kind of the negative reaction to his Supposedly he doesn't like the Jazz's offer, but I think I don't want to say it sounded strategic, but it kind of did. It was kind of like, no, I want to be in Utah. Like, no matter what happens, like that's my priority is staying. So I do think that that'll be an ongoing saga of like who is willing to cave first. I kind of wrote about that earlier, and I just think we are now finally ripping that Band-Aid off of like, oh boy, expect like a whole lot of leaks from both sides to try to get this deal done.
And you can go ahead and find Matt today on the J Notes at the jnotes.com, part of the fan sided experience. And Caleb, what you working on with the Swab Report before we head on out?
I'll have some draft stuff coming out here over the weekend, probably. There's been a lot of mention of OKC getting up, and two guys that we have not written about in detail yet, although my coworker DJ, my dog is freaking out right now, I'm sorry. My coworker DJ did do a little thing on Braden Burries, but I'd like to go a little more in depth on him if possible. And then Wagler is the one who I just really think is a really thundery guy. And if they can get up that high, I think he makes a ton of sense as someone who has a lot of upside long-term, but is going to get on the floor right away, even for a team as good as OKC with that shooting ability. So those two guys, I think I'm going to maybe do something on. Maybe it'll be together. Maybe they'll be separate. I'm not totally sure, but just keep an eye out for some draft stuff. I'm just super excited for the draft. OKC's, I think, one of these weird teams who could do nothing or they could do a lot, and neither one would be all that surprising. So just looking forward to the draft and going to have some stuff coming out.
So with that, it is, of course, Caleb Ponce. Please go ahead and check out on the stuff that he does for the New Century Press and all those things that he was talking about at the Swab Report right there for you as well. And then, of course, everything that he does as well right there for us at NBA Observations. Matt, every week for us on NBA Observations. Big shout out to Legend from I Got Next Sports Media. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day for sharing with us our thoughts on if we built a team in the offseason, what it would look like. Again, not exactly the perfect way for me, but a hell of a lot better than Rob Pelinka. That's for sure. And I can definitely say that without hesitation because, yeah, I will say that indeed for me. But Matt John, if you like what he said he did for Utah and Boston, please let him know at thejnotes.com. Caleb Ponce, if you like what he did or have some questions for what he did, go ahead and either guy, go ahead and check out Caleb at the Swab Report as well. And if you have any comments for us, please leave it below. But please know we are going to go ahead and continue with more coverage, hopefully another NBA Observations. And then also Tuesday night, we will be here live for the NBA draft as well. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here with regular updates on what's going on with the NBA at the Lakers Fast Break and NBA Observations.